Weirwoods are photosynthesizing human consciousness. Instead of capturing energy through red and blue light waves of the sun, they capture brain waves through electrodes like chlorophyll pigments. Interesting. Huh, interesting. I mean, it does make sense, like, the weirwood is off in the middle of the tundra and like nothing else can like grow. Like, well, I mean, the pine trees are out there too, right? They're kind of like, but it shouldn't be like they're not evergreen trees, and yet they're somehow growing in this like cold environment. How does it avoid the freeze? Like, what's actually in a weirwood's red leaf? Because it's not green, right? Like, it's, like green is the color of chlorophyll and photosynthesis. So like, how is it surviving? Is it surviving on some other form of energy? It's surviving on brainwaves. But this idea that the brainwaves aren't being consumed though, right? So I mean, they continue on forever. These brainwaves are converted through the plant's transducer reaction centers and are converted into glucose, which are stored energy, afterlife, or blended consciousness. Thoughts? Oh, man. I think that you have come up with a much better idea than George R. R. Martin ever thought of. Like, that's very creepy and cool. This is my piggybacking on my human consciousness expressed as a wave idea. It's funny though, because I was actually thinking about this like idea that you came up with, and I was thinking of a book idea in which, like the first transceiver, like it's a story in which like you set it in any time, but say it's in the modern day, but there's a transceiver. And it receives the first signal, and it's able to construct a nanite or a robot or something that begins constructing more transceivers in order to receive more alien consciousness, because the consciousness has all been transformed into waves, into light waves, and that way you can like recreate these people. So you could do an invasion story. In the sense that like these robots are like building more, and then more transceivers and more consciousness comes, through each transceiver. Or it could be, in a sense, like you could have another spacefaring story where it takes place over the course of just millions of years. But like when travel happens, everybody like transitions into becoming waves, and they send themselves across space, and their bodies get reconstructed in the new environment. And the whole thing like takes place. The whole story takes place over centuries, thousands of years, millions of years. As like human beings, or the characters are like moving themselves around. But yeah, storing consciousness as like in the plant as glucose, in the same way that I think that's a very cool idea. It's very outside the box. I don't think George was thinking about it. I don't think George was thinking about it. But these are very cool ideas, because I've never seen these stories, like an idea like this, like done. You could, are they slowly digesting the souls of the hive mind? I don't know. It would have to be very, very slow. I mean, that's a cool idea. Maybe it has a place in the fanfic. I don't think George was thinking about it. I think it's way too outside the box. Carmine, what do you think of this? What do you think of we're on like heavy sci-fi here.
This guy ChaosCard has consistently delivered some banger super chat questions. My one question to him is, my man, what the fuck are you doing paying Preston to see your theories? Make your own fucking channel. What are you waiting for? You're just giving these ideas out for
I know
free?
these
My
are like
man.
these are fantastic sci-fi book ideas. I'm just saying that like an invasion story where somebody where like the first robot is like building a satellite dish and is now building more satellite dishes for like more of his like brethren to come. That's never been done before. Or like a foundation like story, but rather than faster than light like ships, which is what everybody just does, like it actually just takes place with like beams of light and bodies that are reconstructed in their new environments. Um, Actually, for the invasion story, it could be like the first probe arrives. It's like one of those scattershot probes, right? You know the there's you, Carmine. You heard about the idea of how we're gonna get to like Alpha Centauri? Is that
Uh,
the idea is
since
that
of transmitting consciousness.
no, well, no. But I'm saying like right now, people are like, okay, what's the best we can do to get to Alpha Centauri? Well, we can build tiny little probes, micro probes, and then with solar sails, and then you push the laser against it, and it picks up speed, and eventually you can get it up to a speed of like a quarter of the speed of light. Now the problem is that in space there's like tiny fragments of dust or atoms, and so over the course of a trip to Alpha Centauri, your ship is probably going to hit one and explode. So you send like 1,000 or 5,000 of them and hope that like a few make it out of the whole idea. And then you build them up to a 25% of the speed of the light. They zoom by Alpha Centauri. They take pictures of everything. They send the information back, and that's like the best idea we have for like interstellar travel, for like at least exploring like the nearest like 10 stars. You know, that we could explore them within say the next 200 years. Like, you know, find out what they look like and if there's like habitable worlds and things like that. And
Dario
so
makes a good point here, and
yeah.
this is ironically this is a quest in Starfield. The trouble with slow travel, the trouble with this type of travel is someone after you could invent faster travel and get there before you, making the trip a complete waste. True,
Right.
over
I think
time
this
as
is
they get
why
there.
everyone keeps waiting. You know, like, well, the
Hmm.
technology is moving fast enough that we might as well wait and then see. You know, because like we think about like chips getting smaller and things like this. It's like even for that like for the 10,000 ships to Alpha Centauri, like just waiting 1 year, like how much technology change happens in 1 year with regards to like data storage, you know. You might as well, you know, and then it just gets to that point, and then we're always waiting. The glucose idea was a way to connect Robert Aaron's seizures with his Weirwood throne from your theory videos. Oh, that's interesting. Um, I mean, I always the seizure idea was this idea that there's still like children in the Weirwood, and that they're like connecting with Robert Aaron and having seizures, in the same way that like Varamir Sixskins tries to like take control of somebody's body in his chapter, and she has a seizure. That he tries to seize her body, and she has a seizure. That people are trying to seize Robert Aaron's body and being unsuccessful. But